Hey y'all, we're gonna get into this live review of Married2Medicine Season 10, Episode 3, titled Pamper Party Crasher. And if you enjoy this review, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And let's get into it. So they start off showing clips from Letitia's bachelorette party, um, and then they say like 4 days beforehand, before the shit got real messy. And then they show Toya and Jean deciding to throw Dr. G and Letitia's pop parties for their wedding. And then they show Claude making dinner, chatting with her personal assistant, and then they show Phaedra at one of her son's soccer practices. And then they show Dr. Simone and Dr. Jackie at work on their lunch break. And then Dr. Jackie starts talking about a patient that came in with a yeast infection. And when she started talking about that, I'm like, girl, y'all about to eat. Is that something that y'all really want to start talking about? But they're doctors. Not much can really turn their stomachs unless it's cheating men. They're cheating men specifically. But um, she and that patient ended up figuring out that it was a STI that she had. And in her confessional, Dr. Jackie says that being an OBGYN um, is like a lot of the time is very awkward because it's like some of the worst cases is when she knows the husband and the type of stuff that he been on. So she starts to feel like Jerry Springer or like she's on Cheaters or something. And then Dr. Jackie says, let's talk about Letitia. And Simone is like, well, Sweet Tea is in a bit of a struggle right now. And then they show clips from that awful wine tasting that they did in the last episode. And Jackie says that Sweet Tea ain't that sweet no more. And Simone lets Jackie know that Letitia is overwhelmed trying to cater to Dr. G's needs. And Jackie puts her head down, like, not this shit again, like, what needs. And Simone says that, like, Letitia just says that she needs help with the wedding planning. And Jackie says, well, most of that stuff is done online these days. And then Simone says that Letitia asked her about an assistant. And as I was doing my notes, I realized that Letitia really only had 1 month to figure this whole wedding thing out. And all you keep hearing Gregory say is, I planned to make sure this wasn't stressful or there was no problems here or there. But he meant no problems for him. He didn't really care about what she got going on. So I kind of just feel that maybe Letitia's kind of second guessing if she really wants all that money that Dr. G might have for all the stress that's coming with it. And then Jackie says, an assistant for what? Like, what she need an assistant for? And Simone says to do the grocery shopping so that all Letitia has to do is cook. Because Dr. G expects a home cooked meal whenever he gets home. And Simone says that the newer generation is more entitled and spoiled. And Jackie agrees. And I'm just like, don't lump us all together because there's some people who feel like that's not too much. And then some of them who feel like that is too much. But for the kind of lifestyle that Letitia wants, if she wants him to cater to her and to do every damn thing, she gonna have to make that man a meal. But in her confessional, Simone says that when she was Letitia's age, she had a private practice, a husband, a toddler, but says that the younger generation, like her sons, expects life to happen like magic, and that Letitia needs to rise up to grown woman status ASAP. And I guess I could kind of agree, but y'all just a little too. Y'all older than her, so she don't really feel like she can vibe with y'all. And y'all, when y'all got married, it was like shit was easier to get married. Not too many requirements. Everybody's so picky nowadays. But now we're with Heavenly, and she meets with Letitia for lunch, and they order a shot of Patron because she get married. And I'm like, or did you order that because you can't deal with Letitia sober? But then Heavenly asks Letitia how she's been, how she's feeling. Basically, is she excited for the wedding? And the first thing that comes out of Letitia's mouth is that the wedding planning has been hard. And I feel like she's been saying that, like, that's been her response every time. It's just been hard, just been hard. So I don't know what about this is fun for her, because she just keeps saying that she's ready for it to be over. But then Heavenly asks if Dr. G has been more involved in the wedding planning because she knew that that was an issue for Letitia. And Letitia says that she had a vision that he will be more involved, but he isn't. And Heavenly is just kind of looking at her like, you see her? She like, okay. Um, and then in her confessional, Letitia says that the wedding is a week away and she's so stressed and that they had to change the venue at the last minute and that she wants everything to be perfect because she works so hard. And then Heavenly tries to give Letitia some advice and tips on saving her own money and stuff like that when she gets married. And Letitia's like, yeah, she got her own money, so she don't really ask for too much. And then Heavenly asks Letitia if Gregory ever throws in her face that he pays all the bills. And she's like, yeah, sometimes. And then Letitia says that Quad was probably right about a few things when it came to Gregory. And Heavenly asks, like, what? Letitia says something about an alarm system and that he lied to her and said that there were robbers in the house. And Heavenly was like, well, why did he lie? And Letitia says that he was trying to teach her a lesson about the alarm on in the house because he says that she doesn't set it when she leaves if she does. And I'm thinking that could be controlling, or he's an old ass man set in his ways. That's kind of how I've seen it. But Heavenly says that that was a bad joke on Gregory's part. But in her confessional, Letitia says that he's not her damn daddy and that you don't teach her no lessons like she's a child. And she says that she's going to be his wife. And then Letitia tells Heavenly that it pissed her off real bad that she went off on him. And just in the scene, you could tell that them few shots that she had was getting to her. She was feeling good. But then she continues to say that Gregory told her that she's saying the same shit that Quad was saying. So she's like, well, what other woman live with you other than me and Quad who's been saying the same shit? And in her confessional, Heavenly says that she feels like Letitia is telling her the same exact thing that Quad told her about Dr. G being controlling and shit and how it's either his way or no way. And then they show old clips from seasons ago of Dr. G talking to Quad saying that they need to start working on a family this year and that she needs to start being appreciative for what she has. And she just looking at him like, who are you talking to, Then Heavenly asks Letitia, so what do you say, like, what did you say basically that made him like react that way? And Letitia says that all she asked him to do was be more involved and that it's not about the monetary things. And then they show a clip of Quad saying the exact same thing to Gregory. And then Heavenly says that she would have divorced Gregory if she were Quad too, and that she doesn't want to see Letitia go through the same thing because both Quad and Dr. G got mug shots after being in that marriage. And then Heavenly asks Letitia what's going to happen after they get married. And Letitia says that she thinks they'll figure it out. And Heavenly is just like, okay, girl, whatever. But now we're with Simone, and she and Cecil and the kids are going out for family dinner, and they chat a little bit about how their spring breaks were to the sons. And in her confessional, Simone and Cecil chat about their sons and what they do and go to school for, and how one of them is still living with them, and how, they're just kind of all over the place, but they get it from their dad. And then Cecil asks their sons what their next steps are after school, and the oldest son said he doesn't really know. And Simone is like, well, do you plan on coming back to Atlanta and living with us after school? And Cecil and the son were like, well, where was she think he was supposed to go? And Simone is like, I'm not sure about that. And then the son says, well, you can get me an apartment so I can live outside the house. Shout out to Haven. Hey, girl, I'm going to read your comment real quick. And she says, unpopular opinion, but Quad ate the scene with no effort. You that girl when you make someone that upset off your presence alone. You're so right, bruh. Like, Toya was livid when Quad walked in the room. And when I first saw the scenes of Phaedra bringing Quad in, I'm like, girl, what is you doing here? They're not gonna let you come back. But Quad ain't break a sweat. She was straight. She was good. Like Toya couldn't bother her not one bit. And she's in the same room with her ex-husband's fiance. Yeah. Shout out to you, Quad, because she was cooler than a cucumber, you hear me? But back to Simone and Cecil. In her confessional, Simone says that they have been coddling their kids, and Cecil says it's not about that. But he's trying to schmooze the conversation in the boys' behavior by saying that, if we gonna get your own apartment, it's gonna be an investment property. But he and Simone have to be on the same page. And Simone says that they aren't ever on the same page or team. So, and they both have specific ways of doing things. And in her confessional, Simone says that Cecil believes that there's a free flowing ATM machine of unlimited spending for their sons until they choose to get it done, whatever it is. And Simone says that she's not having it. And she tells her sons that they have very entitled lives. And that's the end of their scene. And now we're with Heavenly, and she and her daughter are cooking, and Heavenly is telling her what she needs to do. Telling her that when she go to college, how she find her husband or whatever, and that she wanted to cook for him. And I'm thinking, like, don't let Heavenly find out that Sweet Tea wants an assistant to do her grocery shopping for her, because she's gonna be less than a woman, right? And then Alora, Heavenly's daughter, says that her husband's not gonna want no spaghetti. Toya got herself a good man. I think Eugene's cool. Eugene's cool. He's like the nerdy cool, okay? I think all the husbands are cool except for Curtis. I do not fuck with Curtis. Dr. Jackie, we want to keep an eye on him. And I don't like Dr. G either. His little pinhead looking ass, if I'm honest. But for all of this that Toya does, she do got a nice husband. Heavenly do a lot of talking too. And they just got real quiet husbands. That's interesting, right? But Heavenly's daughter, Alora, says that her husband's not going to want no spaghetti. And Heavenly jokes and says, nah, that's for how you want to keep your man. And I think everybody knows what she's talking about with the spaghetti thing, okay? Okay. And then Dr. Damon comes in and he says hey to the ladies. Heavenly says that she was just talking to Alora about when she finds herself a man in college. And then she asks Damon if he has any exciting stories that he wants to tell Alora from when he was in school. And he was like, yeah, of course, most of them involve drinking, but Alora, you don't have to do that. You don't gotta drink. And he says that studying was fun though. Like, oh, dad jokes, And then Alora asks her parents if they both partied or anything like that. And Heavenly is like, yeah, I had all the fun. And she slips out the fact that she had a boyfriend before she was with Dr. Damon. And they was both like, yeah, we kind of had a little something before we got with each other, but that they were each other's first loves. And in her confessional, Heavenly says that they are still together after 26 years. And Dr. Damon says that he hugged her at high school that they went to, and says that at this moment he knew that he wanted to feel this woman like this for the rest of his life. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And then Heavenly said, high school? That don't sound like me, because all the time Heavenly said that they met in college, right? So who was he talking about? But then Damon says that when he was in his undergrad, that's the time for friendships and stuff. And Alora says that she thinks that she'll make good friendships at FAMU or wherever she goes, probably FAMU. And Heavenly is not trying to hear that. Basically, Alora wants to go out of the state for school, and her parents don't want that. And they're both just trying to do whatever it is to convince her to stay and find a college there in Georgia so they can, be close to her so she won't be too far. And says that they got a lot of nice colleges there. And then Alora says that they both went away for school, so she isn't sure why they're so against her leaving. And Damon says that he hates that it sounds sexist, but he knows that the boys can handle themselves in any type of physical situation if necessary, being far away out of the state, but she's their little girl, and he wants to be able to hop in a car and be like an hour or so away to help her with whatever it is. so she's not too far, and they don't want her to be too far, basically. And I just thought that was so sweet. He want to protect his little girl. And then both Heavenly and Damon are trying to spook her, saying, "Oh, it's Wi-Fi and AI, and it's a lot going on outside, and it's a lot of unusual weather in Florida. So we just want you to stay here. You need to be close to me." And I just think it's so cute. Like, oh, they want her close and not too far away. And I get it because that's the baby girl. She's the youngest. That's the baby girl. They don't want her too far. In her confessional, Dr. Heavenly says that hopefully she's done enough to convince Alora to stay, but she don't got to be at the house because she got her man or whatever. And then she turns to Dr. Damon and she's like, "Oh, are you crying? Oh, you crying? Don't tear up, don't tear up." But he was like, don't, you talking about it now. Don't make it noticeable. And then that's the end of their scene. We're going to read Haven's comment real quick. She says, "This is the part I love to see on Married to Medicine, not all the fights and endless shade. I want to see normal lives of the doctors, their relationships with their spouses, and their kids and challenges." I agree. I like that. I 100% agree. So far, the season has been pretty mellow. It's only been 3 episodes. It's been pretty mellow. Again, Sweet Tea, I don't know about her right now. She's giving me iffy vibes. But you're right. Just normal shit. They talking about school, sending the kids off to school, not throwing drinks and shit at everybody's face. I totally understand that. And then she says, "I mean, something good and uplifting our people. Maybe I'm boring, but this is the way I want Married to Medicine." You're not boring at all. The only thing is that people like to eat up like mess and foolishness. I totally understand. Like, I want mine some boring TV. You know what I'm saying? Because boring TV has some substance sometimes. Everybody throwing shit in each other's faces, tossing tables and shit, that's too much. Not always. And they're doctors. Doctors and doctors' wives, honey. They don't throw drinks. They buy the bottle. Isn't that what Mariah said? And then Heavenly says, "Thanks for enlightening me. Oh, Simone and Cecil, don't make that face. The son ate that." He talked just like his mama, done. Just like his. And I noticed Simone got all the boys. Toya got all the boys. Heavenly is like the only one with a daughter, right? She got boys too, but she the only one with a daughter. And I don't know about Dr. Jackie and that. Okay, so now we're with Dr. Eugene, and he's taking his son to the shoe store. And basically, this whole scene was about them bonding. He's like, "My dad bonded real good with me and my brother or whatever, so I wanted to do the same thing with the sons." And he take them to get shoes and all of this. And the one son was like, "Dad, are you only hanging out with us because you're lonely or something?" And Eugene was like, "Boy, no, leave me alone." But I just thought this scene was very cute. Like you said, Hayden, like they're doing normal stuff with their kids. They're not fighting, they're not cussing, not doing nothing. They out shopping, they talk about colleges, just normal things, okay? Especially for Black people, because they always want us fighting with each other on everywhere, right? But basically, the scene with Dr. Eugene was just him and the kids, okay? Just him and the kids. It was cute. But now we're with Simone and Cecil, and they're in the kitchen. He's like, "You supposed to be getting ready for the bridal party?" And she was like, "Yeah, she just has some work that she got to finish up." But then she asked him, what does he and the guys have planned for tonight? And Cecil's like, "Oh, we're just going to start here with some drinks, and then we're going to get on party bus, and then we're going to go to a yoga spot." And in his confessional, Cecil says that he's nervous about strippers after Mexico. And then they show a clip of Dr. Damon getting a lap dance, and all the guys just living it up when he was in Mexico. And then they show Phaedra and them helping set up for the Pamper party, and how Toya is all excited because she likes throwing parties and shit like this, right? Because she don't work, right? I don't know. I don't want to comfort Toya. This is a sidebar real quick. I don't want to comfort Toya and be like, "Well, why is she on the show? She don't do nothing, yada yada. She spent all the Eugene's money the first few seasons. They went bankrupt, this, that, and third." I don't want to get into that. I just don't like how she do this. She do a lot of this. Because the scene at the end where she found Quad at the when Quad showed up at the bridal shower, it was just giving very much, I wasn't prepared for this lady to be in here, and I don't have my best shady lines on me. It gave that just a little bit. But then the male strippers come in, and they place them where they should go, and Heavenly and Jackie walk in. Heavenly keep telling the strippers, like, leave me alone because I got a husband, I got kids y'all age, I got sons y'all age. And in her confessional, Heavenly says that Toya is a freaky bitch and that she had them come half naked in lingerie and shit. But as much shit as Heavenly talks, she has some nice legs, I'll tell you that. Okay? And then Simone comes in, and so does Dr. Alicia. When are we going to get into this Dr. Alicia story? Because she's kind of just here, just to be here, but I need to, what's her storyline? Her and her husband. And then Toya tells them that they can unwind because it's not about sex, it's about pampering, and they're all getting massages and getting their feet rubbed and stuff. And then we go to Gregory's bachelor party, and Eugene and Cecil are chatting a little bit, but the other men trickle in, and finally Dr. G tiny ass comes in with his little pinhead ass. And in his confessional, Eugene says that tonight is going to be one for the books and that they're all going to go to the gentleman's club and give these young ladies in need of money some help to help them along in their future and their life, and says that it's like a college fund a lot of times. Boy, bye. And then Curtis, this is the one that I need to watch out for because I remember the first few seasons, they was like, oh, this nigga's out here doing everything. But Curtis, Dr. Jackie's husband, tells Dr. G that tonight is about him and that this is his last night of, and then this huge pause. He's like, it's your last night of being by yourself, okay? And then Dr. G toasts to the brotherhood and to him getting his family. And after they get all the mushy-gushy stuff out the way, they ready to party. And then in his confessional, Dr. G says that this party is going to be the most disgusting shit imaginable, and it's going to be raunchy and fun. And yeah, too much fucking fun, if you ask me. And Haven says the promo for this episode made it seem like she was upset because Quad turned up. Sneaky producers, LOL. These producers be making audiences think like this when it's not exactly. I felt the same way when the whole time she was mad at her sister. Because I knew she wouldn't be that mad about Quad. Like, I mean, I get it. She's going to be the new wife. That's the ex-wife. She popped up at her shit. That I would be mad at. But the fact that she seemed pretty chill that Quad was there, kind of, it was a little, why you so calm? Why you so collected? Why you not mad at this lady here? And that was one thing that I understood that Toya said, like, you just fussed us out last week about us bringing Quad up, and now all of a sudden it's, oh, Quad, come sit next to me. I think she was just over having her emotional spouts, and she was just like, Quad, get in here. Because they've been running their mouth about you all the time. Just get in here. That's how I felt. But now they're back at Letitia's party, and she finally arrives, and the strippers start to cater to her, rubbing her down, giving her massages and stuff. And in her confessional, she says that she's having all the fun, and then one of the strippers picks her up off the piano and takes her to the couch. And then Simone asks Letitia if Gregory will be able to do that the night of the wedding because she's just curious. And I laughed real hard because she right, his little short ass, and Letitia's obviously taller than him, so. But Letitia's like, oh no, we practice it. Like, okay, sure you did. And then she's like, oh, I wonder what the men are doing right now. And Toya says, probably the same thing we doing. And Letitia says, no, Gregory is conservative. Girl, you know nothing about your man. And Jackie looked at her the same way, like, what are you talking about? Are we talking about the same man here? Because that nigga's not conservative at all. And now we're with, and Haven says, just like a Love and Hip Hop promo, they did that with Spice and Safari, making it seem like Safari was trying to be with Spice, and Erica confronting her about Spice and Safari. Exactly. I'm glad you're following with me. Exactly. All the producers are the same way. It's just to hook you in, hook, line, and sinker to make you think, so this is what happened. And then the whole time when you're watching the episode, you'd be like, this dry shit. This was nowhere near what happened, you know? And they be chopping up their words and stuff to make it seem like they said one thing and they didn't. Yeah. Now we're back at Gregory's party, and he's in mid-motorboat, cheeks all over the place. And Curtis is saying, you giving up the single life, man. And Dr. G says, well, not tonight. And then in his confessional, Cecil says that his bachelor party was nothing like this. And in his confessional, Eugene says that this is what a bachelor party should be like: good, clean, fun. And that his party was like that too. And Toya says yours wasn't clean. And they just had a little stare off for a minute. And then the guys tell Dr. Damon that, he's been in trouble before, so maybe he should just hold on to the little doll that they got. And then Gregory says that if he takes his pants off, if he takes his pants down, then come back up, and all the dudes are like, boy, you gone. Like, you need to go sit down somewhere. Hayden says, I ain't going to talk too much about this because this is about Married2Med. I know, but I know what you mean, girl. I get it. It's definitely the same way. And I wouldn't be surprised if the producers who worked on Love and Hip Hop was the producers who worked on Married2Med, because they messy. Just the way they mash the promos up, you're right. But now we're back at Letitia's party, and Jackie and them are asking Letitia and her sister and the maid of honor, like, if they're excited for the wedding and if Letitia's a bridezilla. And the maid of honor says that she's ready for the wedding to be over with, and that Letitia, she isn't a bridezilla, but she's justified in her bridezilla moments. And Jackie is like, so she is one. And I just felt like Sweet Tea and her group of friends are not the sharpest tools in the shed, because that's exactly what Jackie asked. Was she or was she not a bridezilla? Like, okay. And then in the middle of the party, her wedding planner calls her and gives her bad news about the venue, and that it's going to cost them like $13,000 to $14,000 more. And all the ladies are sitting around looking at her like with their heads down, embarrassed for her. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I would have fired that wedding planner right then and there. You're not gonna call me in the middle of my bridal shower and tell me that I have to shit out $13,000 or $14,000 more dollars for this wedding that I barely even want now because we had to change the venue. You want to tell me this in the middle of my bridal shower? You're fired. That's me. That's just me, okay? And I get it. It's like, oh, her wedding's a week away. She need all the help she can get. Not in the middle of my bridal shower. You could have did that shit afterwards. After I'm nice and lit, got some liquor in me, you know what I'm saying? I'm relaxed. Not in the middle of my bridal shower, because next thing you know, Letitia is all mad and shit, literally going bridezilla, okay? And basically after hearing that it's going to cost about $14,000 more dollars, all the ladies are looking confused. And in her confessional, Toya says that they ain't got it. In her confessional, Simone says that she would have canceled her shit right then and there, the wedding, canceled it right there. And in her confessional, Heavenly says that this wedding wasn't supposed to happen and that this is a bad omen. I don't like Heavenly a lot of the times. She do a lot of this, but they don't be wrong. This is very much a bad omen. And they don't need to be getting married, because we already know she only want that man for this. We already know, because what else do he got? Okay? Let's be honest. But she's saying she only had a month to plan this wedding, and he's super controlling, and he trying to scare you and shit with alarm systems. That's not somebody that I want to marry. That's not someone anyone to want to marry. Okay? And there's something I need to say about that later on, because I'm going to just say it now. Heavenly is like the only one to say, look, this shit don't need to happen. And everybody's kind of just looking at her like, well, why would you say that? Why would you say that? Because the rest of y'all won't. Y'all will literally let her walk down that aisle to this man who only wants somebody to give him some fucking kids. Can somebody make that make sense? Maybe he do want her, right? But Heavenly is like, this shit is very rushed and y'all doing too much. But before I even get to that, so after she get off the phone, after Letitia get off the phone, the sister's trying to calm her down, tell her, it's gonna be okay. The sister trying to take her phone. Letitia like, oh, get off me, don't touch me. And production is doing a great job at trying to make Letitia seem very messy and just bad and like an awful bride, like all this. They're doing a great job at that. And I don't even think she's that bad. She's just very stressed, okay? But then Simone's making all these faces like, oh my gosh. And Toya's like, that's your sister. You can't talk to her like that. And basically, that whole part of the promo where Letitia was up screaming and shit, and they trying to, grab her and push her back and all this shit, is because she was mad at her sister. not at Quad, at her sister. And even production had to step in and try and calm her down. And it was just all very, very awkward. So now we're back at Dr. G's party, and then the men finally arrive to the strip club. In his confessional, Cecil says that the party bus was just a warm up. And in his confessional, Gregory says that this is his last night as a single man, and he wants to go out with a bang. And in their confessional, Dr. Jackie tells Curtis that the rules for the strip club is no touching. And she says that she knows her husband knows better because he knows he'll lose both his hands and his feet. And he's like, he ain't got nothing to worry about. And all the while they were saying that, a stripper was literally sitting on his lap, and he's trying not to touch her. He trying not to touch her so bad. And he's like, my wife told me to come back with half my money. And the stripper's like, no, she didn't. And he's like, well, my wife got a gun. Sir, you still let her sit on you. You should have stayed in the bus. Because Dr. Jackie don't play. You should stay in the bus. Right. And now Dr. G is flirting with one of the strippers. He's like, yeah, what's your name? She's like, my name's Tequila. He's like, oh, I like margaritas. And he was like, it's my bachelor party, right? He was like, you can come to the wedding. And then it was just like, nope. Like the flushing noise from the toilet literally happened. You'd be killed a whole vibe. And then Eugene leans over. He was like, you can't be inviting random people to your wedding, man. Duh. And in his confessional, Eugene says that Gregory needs to realize that this isn't the Best Man movie where you just invite strippers to your wedding. You can't do all of that. And in his confessional, Eugene says that he knows where this night is trying to go, but as Gregory's friend, he's not going to let it go that far. And then Gregory says that he wants to get Damon in trouble and that he can invite whoever he wants to invite. And Damon was like, nah, leave me out of it. Whatever happened in Mexico got Damon scared the fuck straight. And I know Heavenly don't play about Damon. I know. So he's just he got his hands closed right in between his legs. He's done. He's not trying to get in trouble. But in her confessional, Dr. Heavenly says that Dr. G knows how to turn up, but hopefully there's no hotel for him to stop at. That must have happened after he and Quad broke up or some shit. I have no idea, okay? Don't ask me, I don't know. But now we're back at Letitia's party, and the sister is apologizing to her, and they do a kumbaya moment, and they're okay. And Letitia's like, I'm just under a lot of pressure, and then this is what I mean when Heavenly tells Jackie that they knew that meltdown was coming and that really wasn't nothing, and that she thinks that the wedding was rushed and put together knowing that they aren't ready. And Simone is like, well, what makes you think they're not ready? And people are trying to be like, Heavenly, did she specifically say they're not ready? Did you talk to her? And Heavenly's like, well, did y'all talk to her? Y'all ain't ask her to see what's up? And Phaedra was like, well, no, she didn't tell us that specifically, they not ready to be married. So what has she told you that she hasn't told us? And like I said, Heavenly was just basically saying, they don't know how to communicate. The teacher told me that they don't know how to communicate, how he's controlling. He did shit with the alarm system, trying to scare her and all of this stuff. And basically, she doesn't want to be like, I told Josh so, that they shouldn't get married, but point blank period, that's just what it is. And like I said, I don't really like Heavenly like that, but at least she's the one who said it. Because again, they were going to let her walk down this aisle with this man who do not need to be married. And I'm going to just say that. Gregory does not need to be married because he wanted someone so young that's just going to do whatever, ever. Or he wants someone so old who just don't care. So, I don't know. But in her confessional, Simone says that Heavenly is being real shady for sure, saying that 2 days before this girl's wedding, out loud, that they shouldn't be getting married. And like I said, all of them are thinking the same thing. I know they're thinking the same thing. And I know a lot of the times Heavenly does just say shit that everybody else is thinking. But this was one of the times it was okay. And then the sisters come back out, and then Phaedra gets a text saying, I'm outside. And she jumps right up, and she texts back, I'll be right there. And then, whoop-de-doo, it's Quad. And I was just like, Phaedra, this is your last season. They is not going to want you to come back. You brought Quad to the Pamper party. Phaedra, I would have kicked you the fuck out. And that's for real. Not to my bridal shower. Both of y'all go. Because I didn't ask you to do that. I didn't. In a way, Letitia was just so cool, calm, and collected. I don't know how she did it. I don't know how she did it. Um, and then both Quad and Phaedra walk in, and Heavenly is so excited to see Quad. She jumps up and she hugs her. Oh, she just can't wait to see her. And Toya is just very confused. She's like, look at her face. She's like, oh, what's going on here? Like, she's like, Heavenly, y'all cool now? Y'all besties now? Like, what's going on? And Jackie's confused. Look at her. Jackie confused. Simone confused. They just like, what's going on? And Toya's like, y'all best friends now? Y'all best friends now? And Heavenly's like, I just haven't heard from her in a while. And then Phaedra introduces Quad to Letitia, her sister, and Letitia actually shakes hands with her. And I was literally genuine shock. Like, you actually touching this lady? Like, for real? But in her confessional, Toya says that she's about to throw up in her mouth because why is Quad here? And in her confessional, Simone says, like, are you shitting me right now? Like, what? And then Dr. Jackie in her confessional says that what in what world would the ex-wife need to be at the almost new wife's bridal shower? Exactly my point. Exactly. And then Toya says that she's trying to understand why Quad walked through the door when she wasn't invited. And Simone says, well, it looks like she was invited by someone. And Letitia asks who invited her. And Quad says, Phaedra invited me. And then Phaedra's like, well, everybody kept saying they wanted to know where Quad was. So that's not a justifiable enough reason to bring her to this lady's bridal shower. It's not, and it won't ever be. Phaedra, you have gotten kicked the fuck out and you're not going to the wedding. But see, they're co-workers. This ain't just about a happy union. These are co-workers. They're going to have to go to the wedding because they're going to get a check, right? But in her confession, Phaedra says that, if they want to talk about Quad, and basically she wants them to remember how fun she is and how good of a friend she is. And Toya tells Phaedra that she's a messy bitch, and Phaedra just kind of really not feeling that. And then Letitia tells Quad to sit next to her, and Toya's like, this is just real weird. And I kind of felt Toya just sucked up the whole moment. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm reading down my notes right now, and she sucked up the whole moment. It was really one of them things where it's like, this is the party that I'm throwing for you, so why is this lady here? Because I didn't invite her. I invited the rest of y'all, but I didn't invite her. So how dare y'all invite her? That's the kind of vibes that I got. And I think Letitia got the same vibes because she was like, well, this is my party. And Toya was like, no, this is my event that I'm throwing for you. And they kind of laughed it off, but Letitia really wasn't laughing like that. And even the sister was kind of cool. Like, Quad didn't cause no problem. She was literally there. They hugged. She brought her a gift. She was like, I had no animosity towards you. Everything's cool, kumbaya, this, that, and the third. And Toya was just like, Phaedra, I don't know what's going on with you, but can you ask your guest to leave? And Quad gets up and she's like, Letitia, do you want me to leave? And Letitia was like, for the sake of this event, yes, please go. The door, right there. Okay, don't let it hit you. And then in her confessional, Heavenly says that Quad and Toya is a lost cause and that it's dead and that it's a whole roadblock in the whole group because they don't like each other. And that she's just sick of this shit, trying to fix it and all this stuff. And the stripper is like massaging Toya, and he was like, you gotta unwind. And she was like, I'm unwind, I'm fine, I'm good. Like, no, you're not. And then I guess Simone started to ask Quad where she's been at, what she's been up to. And Toya's like, Simone, you don't care. Stop it. And basically, like I said, she's just sucked up the whole energy in the room because she's mad that Quad's there when it's not her party. And she's like, Letitia, how did you just embrace her when you just told us not to talk about her last week? And basically, in her confessional, Quad says that if Toya could get her out of the group, she would be so glad to sweep her out of the circle, and that Toya is just a straight up enemy. And then Heavenly tells Quad to call her later. And then Toya tells Phaedra that she's really mad at her right now, and that if she brings Quad to the wedding, then it's going to be a problem. And that's the end of that episode. And Haven says they need checks like they don't have a real life. Literally, in the way that they set this stuff up, like, you already know that production be like, all right, call so-and-so, so they could show up here, so it can look like you was messy, you invited them over, when it's really the production that did it. And I can't exactly remember which video I said this in. It was one of my older videos. But I was basically like, I want to know what's going on. Oh, Haven, you was there. It was when Erica Mena sat down with Carlos King, and I was like, I want to see what's going on in production and how they set all this stuff up, because they're very messy. It's not the regular cast members who be making this shit move the way it do. It's production. They be like, call so and so. All right, let's ride over here and do this. Let's do that. We all know. We all know. But basically, that is the end of my review for Married to Medicine Season 10, Episode 3. And thank y'all for hopping in with me and watching and chatting with me. Shout out to you, Haven. And make sure y'all enjoy the episode of Married to Medicine that is coming out tonight. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one. Bye, y'all.